Hey guys, this is Krishna. Thank you for tuning in this new video. We're going to be talking about mistakes small business owners make about their backups, right? So you could have a ransomware today, and are you going to be able to use the backup? So mistake number one is small business owners do not test that the backup actually working, right? Can be recovered. So what's going to happen is, as a small business owner, you're going to take, you probably have a system that might automate the backups on your most important file. And at the end of the backup, it's going to let you know that the backup has been successful. But on your end, you think because I've received this notification that the backup is successful, it means that everything is working with that backup. But that's not always the case, right? The reason that is because there are several things that can happen for that backup to show a successful notification. But when you try to use it the next time, it's going to be unusable, and that is basically the equivalent of having no backup. So to give you a few examples that could happen, that could make that backup unusable. Example number one would be a silent error has happened, right? So that error wasn't enough to stop the backup process, but it was not nevertheless an error. And what happened is the backup is gonna complete, but when you're gonna try to use it the next time, it's not gonna be possible, right? Another thing that can happen as well is if you're not too familiar with that backup process, you probably only maybe selected to back up the files, but not the database, or you backed up the database, but not the files. That is something, if you're using WordPress, it's one of the options that you have. So depending on the system, what I'm just trying to say is you have wrongly selected the configuration for your backup. And when you try to restore that backup, because some files could be missing, that backup is not going to work, right? You have another example where maybe the credentials could have changed in the meantime, or you have the wrong credential, you never tested that, right? Or also just the OS version. So the backup that you have taken was on the previous version, but meanwhile, the system, the live system, your production system is now on a different version, on the next version, and there is a conflict of version and you never tested that. That could be another issue. So I've given you there a few examples of when you could have taken a backup and trying to restore it, it would not work, and there are other reasons like that. So this is why it is important to have in your process, the time to at least test some of the backup that you have, right? So mistake number two will be that small business owners only have one backup, right? It's probably, the one that comes with the setup where they're setting up. Usually it can offer you a way to easily make a backup, right? So you could have that, but that is really dangerous. Number one in business is the number one in business is a very dangerous number, right? So what I mean by that is you want to have some type of backup on backup, right? So if you only have one option, it's very dangerous. If that option is not working or end up having any issue, you're in trouble, right? So the thing here is, for small business owners, there is a strategy, which is a framework actually, which is the 3-2-1 framework for backups, and that basically entails that you need to follow at least the 3 copies, right? And to have among those 3 copies at least 2 mediums, right? So what it means is like you have maybe one is on storage and one is on the cloud, or one is on the NAS, network attached, I think, server, right? So you need to have it in different areas, different locations instead of just the same location, right? And the one in the 3-to-1 framework is to have at least one of those copies to be in offline, right? So now, depending on your business and the complexity of it, especially going with the trying to follow all that framework, can be it takes time as well, because then you need to try to test all those 3 backups to make sure it's sure. It takes time and resources and all that. So what I would probably say, especially if right now you're on a 1 backup, this is what you follow. Try to move at least to 2 backups, right? That's really the minimum. 1 doesn't cut it, right? So 2 backups in 2 different mediums, that would be the preferred way to go about your backups, right? So so that would be mistake number 2. Mistake number 3 would be that you do not have a recovery plan. At this, where we are right now, especially with AI, threat actors, hackers, they're able to leverage AI to accelerate the number of targets that they can reach. And it has been noticed that now it's not only big businesses or enterprises that are being targeted by those hackers, but as well small business owners, because most of the time they have the mindset where they think that because they're small, they're not a target. But that is actually why they are a target, because threat actors know, because they think they're not a target, they haven't taken the time to put in place the defenses necessary that hackers will expect, right? So it's not really a question of if you're gonna be hacked, if you're really online right now. It's really a question of when they might try to target you. So with a recovery plan, the thing there is really to not have a lot of downtime, right? Because if you know what backup needs to be done, if you have a plan, if we have this kind of attack, what is the backup, who's doing it, what are the steps, it reduces your downtime, right? And basically with less downtime, you're losing as well less revenue, right? So if your downtime increase, it's more revenue that you're gonna lose. So the thing here that you should be looking at is to have a document. A document doesn't need to be very explicit. It doesn't need to be a lot of details. A few bullet points, really the main thing, who's doing it, what are the steps, what we need to follow, which would be all that is necessary, right? So at the end of this video, I hope this video has helped you. Your solution, your plan right now should be to identify your most valuable assets, right? See if you have already a backup in place for those assets. If you have a backup, good. Now test it, right? If you do it, test it as far as trying to restore and see if it's working, right? If you don't have a backup, put a backup in place and follow at least a 2 backup strategy instead of just 1. So 2 different mediums. And the last step would be, now that you're going through that process, document it, and that is going to be your recovery plan, right? So I hope this video helped you, and I will talk to you in another video. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like the video, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and share with some friends. If you're a small business owner looking for peace of mind, head over to vanguardbear.com for a free website security audit and learn more about our services. And I will catch you in the next video.